did it.
Not bad for coming back after how many months?
Month and a half.
I'm very impressed, actually. That was smooth.
We stopped at the end of November before I went on vacation, remember? And then we just are coming back now in the middle of January, so a month and a half.
Time is a construct.
I was commenting about how if I were smart, I would just use one of my Stream Decks to have a one-button sequence push that handles all of this transitional gate changes and scene changes and all that. And then I said I've been saying that for about 2 years worth of show now and never done it, so it's never going to happen. Not to mention,
you said Stream Decks plural?
I have 2 Stream Decks on my system at home.
Oh, wow.
I know what you're trying to do.
Dual-wielding streamer.
I know what you're trying to do, and I'm not going to fall for it.
What? No,
Because the word deck sounds an awful lot like something else. At least we were 7 seconds past.
No, I was just laughing at the fact that you needed 2 Stream Decks. You had that much stream stuff to do, I guess.
Well, yeah. And I'm not using all the buttons on any of them.
That's a lot of soundboards. That's a lot of
Wait, so you have empty buttons on both of them?
On the XL, I'm using like 7 of them.
Out of how many? How
Well,
many does the XL have? 21?
21.
Oh, I don't know, a lot.
Jeez.
And there's like individual pages on the
pages.
deck itself. So.
Yeah. You guys might be wondering why I'm using this, and then this is all turned backwards. Well, about 15 minutes before we were supposed to go live, the monitor decided to go.
Well, yeah, it's better that than us thinking it was the GPU.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all hard lined in and everything.
I was like, if it's the GPU, today's show is not happening.
Yeah.
Now, you might be asking yourself, Jay, why would you have a hardline tube on something so important like that? It's kind of like, why would you have a rigid tube server, right? It was just a system. Did you have to do that right next to your mic?
It's all spraying into the electronics.
No, it's not
at
even
the
spraying
bottom.
it. I'm just leaving it there now.
It was just a PC that we happened to have laying around, one of the ordinary ones, and I was like, might as well just use it. So RTFM show's back. Hope you guys are ready for a real half-ass show, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's the first week. It's the first week of the year. So
Well, here's the thing.
We're still kind of waking up.
We didn't really have any like any recent RTFM like from the freaking audience mail to pull in for the show. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of let you guys know now. Go ahead and write your short and concise questions to rtfm@JayzTwoCents.com.
Isn't it FTFA at JayzTwoCents.com? Or is it RTFM?
No, it's RTFM.
Oh, it's RTFM.
I made the emails. I know what they are.
I don't know. You couldn't find the doc earlier.
That's just because it's been so long since I've used it, it got buried. So it's rtfm@JayzTwoCents.com. If there's any good stuff, I might pull it in at the end of the show. Otherwise, we'll start getting back to those next week. So, Nick, what did you do over your I almost said Halloween break. Feels like it's been that long.
Halloween.
Holiday break.
I enjoyed my shopping spree presents.
Oh, you had to bring that up again. It was all salty. That like, you didn't get to go shopping.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hey, I enjoyed it, and I'm
Yes.
still enjoying it.
Okay, so how's that monitor working out?
Magical.
And are you glad you got the 3080?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm totally glad.
Well, you did so you did a little FPS test prior to the graphics card. So what was it like?
Well, I was like 80, 90. I was like right about there.
In what?
I did Dirt 2 because I didn't resubscribe to iRacing.
And that's a
until
5K
after.
by 1600 display, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I did Dirt 2. What else did I do? I think I mainly sat on Dirt 2 because that was the most interesting because everything felt smoother. Well, smoother was awesome, and the ability to have the extra bit of screen past the pillar, I was going through turns a lot faster. I was like,
Oh,
whoa.
right, because if you're sideways, you can actually see out the side.
Yeah,
Well, because a regular 21:9 won't go that far.
Yeah, so I was
Unless you go stupid wide FOV, and then everything looks so far away.
yeah.
Or you set up the drift camera thingy where it automatically turns into the...
I didn't even set that up. Like, it was literally
it was just locked forwards,
raw
and
locked forward, and I
that's
could just
funny.
like peek over. I'm like, dude, this
Literally
is neat.
turn your head. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool.
So I enjoyed that a lot, and then I enjoyed it enough to get into iRacing. So I've been doing that.
VR?
No, just on ultra wide.
I don't remember. Do you have a VR headset?
I do.
Okay.
Here's my old Lenovo Explorer.
I couldn't remember if you were doing VR sim racing.
Speaking
or
of,
not.
we still got to do a mini golf night.
Yeah, I know.
I know, it's funny how you can see the little headsets and clubs like floating around. Like people were doing the mini golf.
Yeah, you can get in if he hooks up his Rift S or steals the Quest 2 back from his kids. He can jump into
Now the Rift S, a Quest, and a Quest 2.
Mm-hmm.
A Quest Dos.
Quest Dos, and then I was the only one in the world dumb enough to buy the Quest Pro. But it's pretty awesome. It's really nice in there.
How's your upgrade working
Dude.
out?
Yeah,
Okay,
speaking of the Quest
do
Pro,
it. Yeah, why don't you give a little mini review of like so many folks were like 9900K over like out of or is starting to show its age. Jay's so out of touch. Why don't you tell people what your gaming experience was like while using the same graphics card but going from a 9900K to a 13700?
Basically, I was able to push my resolution in Elite from like around 4.1K to about 4.6K in VR without noticing anything less. So I was like, oh wow, there was really a lot more in that 3080 that I was leaving on the table because.
But the thing is, I think a lot of folks just are incapable of understanding that your CPU can absolutely affect your GPU experience.
Especially if it's a game that you like that sucks like programming wise, like Elite, because Elite's engine is it's kind of like Crysis's in that it loves clock speed and it doesn't really care about thread count. So jumping from like my 5.1 gigahertz on the 9900K to 5.7.
Even then, 5.1 and 5.1 would not have been created equal in those two CPUs.
Yeah, exactly. Those IPCs are so different now.
I forget sometimes just how, folks say, Jay, you're out of touch. I want to say you're out of education because they just go, well, I can run my 8700K at 5.2 gigahertz. I'm fine. It's like, no, that 5.2 might be like 3.5 on a modern CPU.
Yeah. And like, I mean, you saw how many texts I was like freaking out. Like, dude, I had no idea that the 9900K was holding me back this much just for one application like that. Obviously, if it's a game that's like, very optimized and very cleanly
then the
written,
GPU won't be that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like running Time Spy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not going to see a CPU change in Time Spy that much unless you're really, really bottlenecking your card.
Right.
Like a 4090 with,
But you notice from like loading into different like space ports and stuff that like there was no popping in.
So when you hyperspace jump between star systems and Elite, like almost always right when the hyperspace tunnel like flashes into existence, there's a big stutter there, and then almost always as you exit, there's another big stutter because that's when the game is doing the loading of like it's unloading the old star system and then loading the new star system.
And that's all CPU.
Yeah, and I went from like I recently found a video from like 2016 of Elite doing the exact same stutter. So it's been a stutter since like the past 6 years I've ever played that game. And then I the first jump I do and it doesn't even drop a frame, and I was just like, there's no way. Like I called Mark.
So it got to the point. It got to the point,
dude. You have to come over and look at this.
It got to the point to where the hardware was finally so fast enough and efficient enough to just negate the coding inefficiencies.
Like, I guess the best way I could review it is I played Elite with Mark online in VR for 2.5 straight hours, aka an entire Quest Pro battery, without stopping, and I maybe dropped like. There were drop frames 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
For 2.5 hours straight. Like, it was nuts. Like, it literally got to the point where I wanted to play more.
Well, like what
because
you
I was
were
just completely lost in the game. Like, the hardware stopped mattering, which is the best you can ask for hardware, is for it to disappear.
Like what you were saying to me. So one of the things that Phil keeps doing to himself, and I've like told him stop doing that, is he'll take higher end graphics cards from our warehouse and ask like, hey, can I borrow this over the weekend?
yeah.
And then he'll go home and he'll come back all sad to put it back on the shelf because he's like,
I'm not that sad. I was actually going to borrow the 3090 again this weekend.
But the point is, you continue to borrow these higher end cards because you were trying to look for a higher end gaming experience, and you were like, yeah, you were getting it, but by upgrading your CPU, it felt like a GPU upgrade.
It did. Yeah, it did. It felt like maybe like a 80 to 80 Ti class kind of like jump. I'm not saying that suddenly my 3080 is rendering.
No, but your 3080 was being held back to maybe like a 3070.
Yeah, exactly. A 3070 Ti, basically.
Yeah.
So then it felt like jumping from a 3070 Ti to the 3080, where it just smooths out a lot of those stutters. If there were stutters, they're so much tinier and faster. Like instead of it being a half second, it's like a couple frames,
Mm-hmm.
So
that's one of the reasons why I've been so slow to do any upgrades on my personal system. I have all the options in the world right now, but the 10900K has not shown its age.
Yeah. Well, okay, so like back to the GPU thing though that I was borrowing,
and that's one gen different from your 9900. But I have 20 threads, and I'm overclocked to 5.2. It's just been fine.
And you're not fighting like wattage limits.
No, I'm playing like Phasmophobia and Warships and indie games. Like,
I'm sitting here rendering 4.7K in VR.
Yeah. If anything, it's funny because like in my live stream, people were like, how are you only getting 60 FPS in Phasmo when you have a 4090? I'm like, because you can also get 60 FPS in like a 1650 because the game is so poorly optimized.
Yeah, just every card.
When I look at my graphics card, when I look at my sensor panel, the 4090 is at idle speed, at idle temps, at like 10% load.
That's so funny.
Because it gets to the point to where it just the engine won't utilize any more than that.
Because it can't. It's just like there's just nothing else to render.
Yeah, and then the engine cap or the FPS cap built into the engine for World of Warships now went from 75 FPS to 120.
Oh, they finally,
Yeah, and so I mean it hits 120 without trying.
Yeah,
obviously.
and then it just stops. No, but I was gonna say that part of the reason that I like borrowing those higher end graphics cards is it's hard to take a benchmark result and translate it to exactly how it'll run on your monitor and on your CPU and with your RAM and stuff like that. And so like, you know, it's one of those like, oh, I have the ability to do this, right? I might as well like borrow this for a weekend, take down like some data, like, you know, this is the FPS that jumped up or whatever. And so that's exactly why I wanted to borrow the 3090 is because now I want to see what the CPU difference does to a card that I think can push the target res that I want for Elite.
Yeah, and the 3090 FE is the only one, the biggest card you could probably fit.
3090 Ti FE, I guess it would be the fastest.
No,
one.
you won't be able to fit the 3090 Ti because of the fact that the 3090 Ti is when they moved the plug cable back from that 45 angle.
Yeah.
So the 3090 Ti is exactly like a 4090 on the way they put the adapter plug. Because that 45-degree angle is what you need to clear that NR200P max.
Yeah, without having to use like a cable mod 90 degree, which will probably work.
Well, yeah, and that's not going to work obviously on the 3090.
I wonder if I need to use 2 cable mod because it'll be 90 backwards and then 90 backwards up to that.
Every junction is a risk.
I know, especially with a 40 series card. Yeah.
Well, we just got like there's a couple cases out there.
I mean, honestly, the only reason that I'm so like, don't use me as an example of like how to like what parts to buy because obviously Quest Pro, but like I was saying that the only reason the 4070 Ti is not on my radar is because no one has a FE in stock, and I really want the FE because they look nice.
There is no 4070 Ti FE technically.
Oh.
Yeah, there's no 4070 Ti FE.
I thought I saw it on Best Buy and it was just coming soon.
Well, if there is, they delayed it because at the time of when they released cards to us, the reason why they were partner cards is because I think with the whole renaming
I
scheme,
still said 4080 on it, right? Like they were still etched on the back.
But yeah, the 4070 Ti FE, at least at the time that we received those cards, which was December, or in November, we received. I think we got the 4070 Ti. I want to say that we got it in like.
Oh, you're right. I can't find it.
In November. Yeah, there's no 4070.
I think I saw the 4080, and that's
there's no 470 Ti FE. So. I don't know. And what's funny is the leaked rumors of all the FE boxes for the 4070 non-Ti.
Should I just get 4080? I mean, I act like I can buy that tomorrow, but like, you know, eventually.
They're so expensive.
Yeah, I know.
It's funny too because you were PC nerding out while I was like cosmically nerding out.
Yeah, because you got
so
something
yeah,
pretty cool.
my wife.
I'm jealous of it too.
My wife bought me a present. It wasn't super expensive. It was kind of like a starter kit to see would I be interested in it.
The gateway drug.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It was a combined gift for my youngest daughter and I, because my youngest daughter is like super obsessed with like the stars and the solar system, and she's always like, "Dad, did you know?" and telling me random things she's learning at school and whatnot. And she's like, "Did you know that Jupiter is a gas giant?" And I'm like, "Did you also know that your dad is a gas giant?"
Oh no!
I was gonna make that joke right after you said that. Oh dang!
Because I can fart on command, it's like, "Did you know your dad's a gas giant?" Anyway, so my wife bought for us to enjoy together a telescope, and it's a smart telescope that, you know, obviously I can mount my phone to it. It uses a mirror with the lenses on the camera, and I have to calibrate it every time I use it, but it's worth it. And then I can literally use the Sky Map app to literally find whatever I want, because I learned very quickly you can't just point it at the sky and be like, "I'm gonna look at that star." No.
You'd be there for an hour trying to find the dot. Yeah. I told you I was super jealous because when I was a kid and I had a telescope, there wasn't that. I couldn't calibrate it and then point it at the thing and then have it tell me where to go.
Yeah.
So I'm like so jealous of
Well,
that
the thing was, like, she had just been learning about Jupiter, and I was like, "You know, Jupiter's in the sky right now. We can take a look at it." She's like, "Really?" So it takes me probably a solid hour to put the telescope together, get it calibrated, get the app set up, get it all right where I can actually find something. And so that when it's in sight on the app, it's actually in the viewfinder. That took a while, actually. And so Jupiter was like straight up. And I was like, okay, cool. And that's perfect too, because with the telescope pointing straight up, the eyepiece is down low and she can actually look in it. Otherwise, she has to stand on a little table.
Oh, right. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
So she's looking at it, and then I get it all set up, and I'm looking in there. I'm like, okay, there it is. There's Jupiter. And she goes, "All I see is a dot." So I think she was expecting to see like a blown up picture of it. Yeah. It was a bigger dot. I didn't put in the 2x magnifier because that makes it kind of fuzzy. It's not a very good magnifier. But anyway, I was looking at it and like, oh, check this out. If you look carefully, like straight up from it, you'll see like 3 other dots. I'm like, those are Jupiter's moons. And she was like, no way. And then she was like freaking out. We looked at it again
so
the other
cool.
night because we've had 2 nights of clear sky since we bought it.
Coincidentally, you bought a telescope and it just rained forever until like recently.
It was like, Jay got a telescope? No, you don't. So the next time I looked at it, there was a whole cluster of moons around it. And
it has what, like 27 moons or something?
a ton, but there was like a density of them, and you could see the dots, and then you'd see like one out here, and then one like way out here. I'm like, okay, those are the moons. Then we looked at Mars,
That's so funny.
and we could actually see Mars's moons. So, which is crazy, because that's the thing with the naked eye, you can see the planets. But what really kind of blew her mind was the fact that she keeps calling you like, oh, what's that star right there? I'm like, that's Jupiter. She's like, wow, and it's like, that's not a star, that's a planet. And so I had to kind of explain to her like, let's look at a star. So we ended up looking at Sirius B, which is the small one, right? So the Sirius B, which is like blue and small, and there's Sirius A, which is like big, and it's
blue-white, I think.
whatever. I mean, you're talking the wrong guy.
You might have been looking at A. I don't know.
There was no red to it.
You said it was super blue.
Very blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so it was in the sky, and we looked at it, and the difference between looking at a planet, which is a dull glow, was it looked like you were looking at a diamond that was in the light, in the sunlight. It was just
like the
so
sparkle,
shimmery.
yeah.
And so that she got a real good idea of like, oh wow, it's truly a light source versus a bounce light.
That's
which was
probably
really
the
neat.
most HDR you could get if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's literally the black of space versus a star.
Yeah.
Like,
And then Orion was in the sky. So of course my oldest daughter was asking me questions when we were in Florida about Betelgeuse, the star, not the movie.
You mean Betelgeuse?
Betelgeuse. And we found it, right, and looked at it, and it's this tiny little point. And that's when I did the whole like, here's our Earth, here's our sun, here's Betelgeuse, and our sun's like a marble next to a freaking beach ball, right? And then she realized like how far away it was by looking at that pinpoint of light. And I went, yeah, and the light left that star in like the 1300s. It's just now getting here, and that's when they were like,
Back when you were trick or treating.
yeah. But what I told my youngest, who again she's 8, she can't fathom timeline, like in time and space. It doesn't make sense to her. I told her, I said, that light we're looking at right now, it left 6 months before you were born. She was like, I don't know what that means. And like ran away.
Okay,
She's
bye.
like, what do you mean light left?
Yeah. It doesn't take light time. Yeah, it does. No, it doesn't. Look, I turned the light switch on and then it's instant.
You're that close to it though.
So now I want to get one of those nice motorized, super powerful.
Like a refractor or something. Like
Yeah,
The big, huge, like, chungus looking.
Yeah, one that will actually, you'd be able to see like the roundness of Jupiter, maybe the size of
Yeah.
a BB or something. You know what I mean?
Or like clouds.
Yeah.
That'd be nuts. No, I mean on Jupiter.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm like, why do you want to look at clouds, bro?
Obviously, you could just use your eyeball.
But no,
sounded funny to me.
But what it makes me want to do, it makes me want to get one of those. But I want to go camping in the mountains to get higher.
Yeah, and also less light pollution.
I was gonna say
Exactly.
Joshua Tree even.
Yeah, well, Joshua Tree's at altitude, like some altitude as well. It's not a low desert, but I know.
It's a desert. There's less light out there. That's
True.
all I know.
Yeah, what's funny though
You
is
just go race a truck.
if you ever
wall.
want to talk about light pollution though, and if you've ever driven down so anyone in Southern California, if you've ever driven to Arizona at night, going down the 40, and you look to your left and you see this bright yellow glow in the sky, that's Vegas, and you can see it gradient all the way up to the atmosphere. And that's just how much light there is. You used to be able to see the Luxor light. I remember.
Yeah.
You
Like
could
the
see
beam?
that, but then they had to lower it because it was like frying animals and birds and stuff as it flied over.
Like a bird would land there.
No,
during the
not
day.
land. A bird would fly over it
Oh,
and just die.
jeez.
Yeah. Used to be like a million candle watt.
Who did they
tower.
order
Oh my
the
gosh.
light from? Freaking the Imperial like order?
Phillips.
Phillips.
I
You
don't
see
know.
the Philips logo on the Death Star dish? It's just a really tiny like Philips high energy lighting.
No, it's the Death Star brought to you by Carl's Jr.
Brought you by Philips lighting. Dude. Oh my god.
Prepare the laser.
Dude, it has-
Brought to you by Hardee's.
I want to recut the shot of it blowing up Alderaan and then just RGB it. So it's like Philips Hue. It's a Philips Hue compatible Death Star now.
What sort of sucks though is the 2 clear nights we've had so far to look through my telescope has also been windy.
Oh, and then that's just the planet's just gonna be doing this the
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because did you say you bumped it slightly and then?
No, I didn't. My wife did
Oh yeah.
because she was going to look at Mars as well too. Or no,
She like bumped
Sirius.
the tripod with her toe, right, or something.
yeah, it was Sirius B because Sirius B is 8.5 light years away. And so that's the one, like when she was walking around it, she was kind of like just on the telescope. And I was like, don't bump it. She's like, it's fine. I'm like, no, you don't understand. You can move it. She's like, I barely touched it. I'm like, what do you think 1 millimeter is 8.5 light years away in terms of deviance?
Off trajectory. You're off course.
Anyway.
Aim for a star, miss the whole solar system.
Missed that half of the universe.
Yeah.
I missed. What do you mean you missed? I missed.
Space is big, man. There's a lot of stuff out there. Yeah, but you still...
It's like, imagine if James Webb was pointed just 2 millimeters that way.
Yeah.
The difference between getting the image and just seeing more space.
Yeah, literally nothing.
Yeah, it's like 0.001 of a degree at what? 1,000 light years away.
Yeah, it's like... Yeah, I don't even know. Probably a few light years off.
At least.
At least. Yeah, it's like that little like factoid that's like in a galactic collision, like when two galaxies collide, none of the stars, like on average, none of the stars will even touch each other.
Yeah.
And two whole galaxies colliding, and it's like there's just that much space in space. Like
I think what
it's
annoys
really hard
me,
to understand.
we were talking about earlier, I think what annoys me is the headlines. 2 black holes are about to merge. And it's like, you mean within like 1 million years they'll merge?
Yeah, astronomical timescales are like... Well, like our lives lengthwise compared to like astronomical
It's not even
timescale,
measurable.
It's like a soda bubble.
Not even that.
Yeah, you're right.
If we're talking 14.5 billion years, if you go back to the Big Bang Theory, like 14.5 billion years, the human existence, if what, 40,000 years now, something like that, has been the timeline of humans' existence.
It would be like one cycle of a processor.
If that, yeah.
Yeah, like one.
An E-core cycle.
Yeah, because 5 gigahertz is 5 trillion. Yeah, 5 trillion times a second. So okay, yeah, maybe like a cycle or 100, but still.
Anyway,
you could get one cycle done per year.
They need to upgrade the universe's CPU.
And they need to patch out like the allergy thing. And the vision randomly going bad thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which you recently had to patch yourself.
I feel like I'm going to be next for glasses at this rate.
Chat was already saying you needed glasses just to be on this podcast now.
Oh, and then they need to patch. They need to patch like the motivation module not loading randomly because sometimes that happens when I wake up. You know,
It's real inconsistent.
yeah. Come on, where's the universe devs at?
It's probably either Ubisoft or EA, so we're screwed either way.
You're right. You do have to.
You want motivation? DLC.
and you have to microtransaction everything.
But it's not
DLC.
even a paid DLC. It's behind the it's a
Where's the gun?
it's behind the season pass. So
Oh,
you
are we
can't
back
buy
to
it
not
individually.
cussing because it's a new year?
Well, he was about to drop
it.
an F-bomb. That's a little different.
Yeah, you're right.
So what they're
or-
referring to is I had a 700,000 view video last week get demonetized, which means I made like nothing on that, which sucks, but it's fine. Get demonetized. And I was like, what?
Why?
It must have like picked, it said because of vulgar language, and there is a S word in there, right?
Yeah.
S word. S. Anyway, got demonetized, and I'm like, that's not right. I thought maybe the bot just screwed up, right? So I clicked manual review, and when you're a YouTube partner, manual reviews and stuff are fast. So the next morning I had an email that was like, manual review has determined that this is not advertiser friendly, and the reason why is because of vulgar within the first 7 seconds of a video. Like vulgar language. So apparently there's a rule that says you cannot have vulgar language, and apparently the S word is vulgar, within the first 7 seconds of a video. And I just think that's because that means it's too close to the ad that might have just played.
Right.
But the irony in all of that is the fact that like the S word is not even like a what is it? Who monitors the TV like ratings and stuff? FCC.
Yeah.
The FCC doesn't even they don't even hold that against TV shows and stuff.
Oh, really? The S word?
Yeah.
It's really just the F word then, huh?
The D word and the F word.
Why the D word? It's a dude's name.
Well, it's a nickname, but when it's used in the other context.
So
I know I'm sounding all PG, but I'm just trying not to get my channel flagged. You know what I mean? Don't say the F word.
I didn't. I caught myself like 3/4 of the way through.
That's why it's read the freaking manual.
I don't know. I just thought of like forgetting Sarah Marshall when they're just like, dude, you need some TLC. No, I need to beat my L on some tea.
Oh my god.
Hey, that's advertiser friendly. I'm just talking about sandwich.
I
Just
guess.
I want a BLT now.
All of a sudden.
Anyway, speaking of making life easier, is there any like non-computer, non-phone, like regular kind of boring tech that's been making your guys' lives like dope? I mean, I'm sure me and Jay kind of have an easy answer right here because I just got recently new glasses, and then obviously Jay's entered the
These are
world.
pretty lo-fi. I mean, I was hoping for some of that like Arasaka tech. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted like
Yeah,
a.
you got the wrong transitions. You have to
I
get
wanted
the
augmented
cyber
reality
lens.
or something on these.
You wanted some of that preem tech.
Can we at least install some LEDs? I'd be like, when I'm doing stuff, you know, something.
Yeah, it's just a piece of plastic in front of your eyes.
Where's the
right?
charger port on these things? I don't know.
It's very analog.
I mean, you know, I'm digging it. But so regarding the glasses thing, like I don't. Okay, so my vision is actually good. My vision's very good.
Yeah, you saw me. I laughed when you told me your prescription because it's like barely anything.
The problem
those
is
are rookie numbers, dude. You got to bump them up.
Yeah.
the problem is my eyes are not. They're not adjusting. By the end of the day, they'll start to get very fatigued where I can't. If I'm looking at something close to me, then I can't focus far away anymore, and vice versa. And yeah, and people are gonna be, that's what bad eyesight is. I know that, but some people are just automatically, they wake up in the morning and their eyes are just like, nope, we don't focus anymore. Mine still does. So sometimes I don't need them. Like the other night last night I was watching TV without them, you know, but the other night before that, I was just like trying to watch a hockey game. I'm like, where's the puck? Oh, there it is.
Getting the whole like into the progressives, like trying to look at the puck.
No, if I'm laying, see, here's the thing. If I'm laying in bed, even though we have a tilt bed and I don't tilt it up,
Yeah.
the progressives are on the low half.
Yeah.
So those that wear glasses, I have these. Now that's probably the coolest lo-fi tech is the progressive stuff.
Yeah, because you can't tell they're bifocals.
Yeah,
at all.
because when she told, well, they're not a bifocal.
Oh,
a
yeah.
bifocal's just two specific ones.
Sorry,
it's
it's
just
a progressive, right?
it's a progressive
It gets-
between both prescriptions. So when she told me, when the optometrist told me, like, okay, this is your reading prescription, and this is your, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have the stupid little things like my dad did, and he's gonna be doing the whole, you know, trying to read with him. I was, man, the jokes are never gonna stop.
That's all you're thinking about, just
Yeah.
how me and Nick were gonna act.
Yeah.
For reference, if that happened, I would have got you like the colonial wig to go with it too.
Yeah, and then you gotta get him the little,
The powdered wig.
you gotta get him the little grandma chain too to like hold.
Yeah,
the
so they can
glasses.
just
Yeah.
hang there. Anyway,
hair curlers.
so when she told me that, I was like, dang it. And then she explained what the progressives were. Now, when I was laying in bed the other night, the progressives were on the low half because it's designed to where if I'm looking at my phone,
Right.
I just lift my head a little bit,
Yeah.
look down with my eyes. And then now if I look with my eyes to the camera, it's in focus, right? When I'm watching TV, if I'm laying in bed, the TV's too far away. And if I'm leaning back, I'm looking through the bottom. So the other day I was like this. I just had on the tip of my nose so to get them where they needed to be. My wife
It looks super fancy. Just
looks at me and goes, you know the bed tilts, right? And I was like, I don't want to tilt it.
too lazy. Too far away. The button's too far away.
You paid for the options. Why not just use the option?
Yeah, I recently got a new prescription and new glasses too, and I decided to finally check out the transitions again. And then Jay made the mistake of not like.
Well, I didn't make the mistake. I just
just
got
didn't know
what was available to me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Jay's lenses have just the regular transitions, which are I
Kind
think,
of slow and not as dark.
but I think they recover faster indoors, so at least you don't run into stuff.
Well, the
But-
problem is they're UV activated, right?
Yeah. So that's why yours don't darken the car, but then mine
No,
do.
it sucks. Because I was like,
Yeah.
I thought that you're supposed to dim. And then
But
I
you
rolled
saw-
I rolled the window down, and then that one went dark.
Yeah, I've had that happen too. When I first had mine too, and I was messing around
So,
with them. Yeah.
was-
You're just like, why is my left eye weird?
I know. So I'm gonna probably end up having to get a couple different pairs.
Or
No, I
mean,
think I'm gonna have a pair that I keep like in the car.
yeah, like a prescription sunglass. So you'd be like me now. Every time you
The
get out of the car,
problem
you
is
just have to switch.
the problem is like I used to always complain like, you know, man, my Oakleys are $200. That sucks. Now it's like if I'm gonna have to have multiple pairs of prescription like sunglasses and stuff or whatever, that's gonna suck. But
You might be able to get lenses for the Oakley because if it's a
Yeah.
popular common brand of sunglasses, then you can usually get a lens.
Oh, really?
For it. Yeah.
I
you
have
can turn those in.
well, I have a ton of like different Oakley frames and Ray-Bans.
I just ended up getting clip-ons. Actually, that was my solution to because you sent that
Oh,
picture
yeah.
of
No, I need the big square ones.
You need the flappers, dude. Just-
yeah, the flappers for full on like chip status.
So when something cool happens, I can be like,
No, I know the clip-ons are super nerdy. So like I try to like make sure no one's looking when I clip them on because they look cool when they're on. They look cool when they're off. They
Yeah.
just don't look cool when you're fiddling with this thing and
Yeah.
trying not to smudge your lens.
they did tell me though, like try them out, get used to them. Because when I first put them on, I was like, oh, this is gonna suck, right? Because
Yeah.
my eyes didn't know what to do.
That first day, I remember you were just like, how do, like, Glasses 101, all the
Yeah.
Glasses 101 questions, like, oh my God. And then he kept, like, running into things. Or you had an escalator
Yeah,
incident,
so
right?
we were at the very first, the second day I had these, we were at LA Kings game, and if you know the parking structure, like the W parking structure, there's the escalators to go up, right, to where you go, because it's an underground parking garage. Things look a little bit higher through the lens than they do in this half that I can't see. So I like stepped off the escalator thinking there was another step. So it was like, like this big old stomp. And I was like, oh, okay. But no, I'm totally used to them now, where obviously I forget I'm wearing them most of the time.
Yeah.
And you're making your shots
you
in the
like-
trash can now too.
Yes, I have not missed a trash can shot since I got these.
We thought this whole time it was the trash can that was cursed. I guess it was just Jay's eyes.
But this isn't what I was going to go to, though, for my answer. Because I didn't think about it.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. You're so used to wearing them now that you punched them off your face in the video. And you had no idea. You were like, oh, I
figured out how I did that. I had this like thing where I'll like,
because you had to like itch.
I'll like go like that
Yeah.
to rub my ear, but I was like, pff, and then my hand got caught in the edge of them and
in
just
right here.
flung them. Yeah. No, honestly, I don't know what my answer was going to be, because if you're asking specifically about tech,
Just like, I mean, that's why my
anything
answer
could be
was the
tech.
transition lens. That's why.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. You know what I mean? It's like something that's like not necessarily electronic, but it is a technological thing. You know, the fact that they can make a pigment that darkens in response to light is cool and recovers in, a few minutes.
like honestly, what's made my life simpler through tech is the smart home features. The thing is,
IoT stuff.
yeah, but you mentioned that sort of stuff, and then you get two crowds that respond.
Oh, yeah.
They're awesome. That's awesome. Privacy, as they're yelling at me on social media
Yeah.
about their privacy. So it's like,
Someone didn't read the license agreement.
Yeah, it's like, whatever. My Roomba see me with
Any-
nothing but boxers on.
anytime I've ever seen anyone like bark the word privacy on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube comments, it's like, bruh, you're feeding it.
Oh my God.
You're feeding it.
This reminds me of the thing. I was like dying. I posted it to Twitter in my reaction of like Luke and Linus were talking about, like, they just recently dropped
who?
Anchor. Luke and Linus.
Who are they?
Dang, what a D word. No, they were talking about, like, because they dropped I think it was Anchor, because one of their other IoT stuff, like it was like a weighing scale, had like a camera in it or something, or like, but like one of their staff put into their question doc, like, oh, is it going to take pictures of my gooch? Then Linus got like, or like Luke got like 3/4 of the way through the sentence before realizing what the rest of it said, and he just went with it anyway. And Luke,
It was like what you did with me in the teleprompter.
yeah.
Yeah, that was so
So for
good.
anyone that's seen Anchorman, me and Nick decided to actually try it on Jay, and it does work. He does read it. You guys will never see it, but he did read it. He did read it.
I'm not going to say what it was or anything, but basically this
You've
was the
seen
reaction.
Anchorman.
I just, words and words and words and words and derogatory statement. When did you put that in there? So what happened was,
The funny part is you edited it too. You
Yeah,
were like,
you
wait, hold
even-
on, I gotta change something.
no,
So we
I edited the script, but
That
I
was
didn't,
after I had
but it
already
was
added.
off. It was
like
off the
below
page, yeah.
No, it was
okay.
at the top of the pages then, because it was the first thing you read.
Yeah, but it was at the bottom of that first paragraph.
Oh, you were changing something at the bottom.
I was changing the first words.
Oh, that's where it was. It was the second.
Yeah, it was like
sentence.
the second line down.
I
dude.
know, but it was still, look, it's big text, so you can see it. It was off the bottom.
Okay.
Like literally, you would have to scroll up one line to see it. But anyway, yeah. What's funny is as I was reading, and I know people are like, Jay has a script. It's like for some ads and stuff, just to make it easier to read through, I'll do a teleprompter. But
Yeah, if they have like really, really complicated.
Movie magic, dude. Just go with it.
but anyway, my brain read the word. You know, the processing between, you can read instantaneous, but it takes time to say it, right?
Yeah.
My brain read it and went, yo, that's not supposed to be there. As my mouth was like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, and even I should have been like, good show, everyone. Good job. Solid effort from everybody. And then you guys are like,
For the guys that have seen Anchorman, it's the
and then there's Nick. Oh my God.
it's the sentence that ends in San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good one. Yeah.
The
Yeah,
scene.
they Ron Burgundy.
I can't believe you. Give this to Chase Poopy mouth. Chase to Poopy mouth.
How could you, Jay?
Oh my god. Wow, and now that we've gotten all of our baboon and hyena laughs out of the way, Nick, what was your answer?
It's probably like the most analog thing ever, but my tire pressure gauge, because
Is it an analog gauge or is it digital?
Is it because of when you knew you hit the thing?
yeah. So
Oh no, we gotta save that for Nick's song.
I can confirm that my tire pressure monitor is broken, and the light will forever stay on that dashboard until I have to get a new set of tires
That's so
again.
funny.
But because I wish the dashboard would tell me which tire is low. It doesn't. It just
Because
says
your car's in that like that
It's in that
era
in between
of like,
like-
oh, we had
yeah.
just invented the tech and we can make it do one light.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we can't
one
make it
light.
do,
we,
like,
we won't
things.
tell you
Yeah.
which one
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is,
Just
but
tell
one
me.
of them is low on air.
But what you
One
would
of
have
your
to, you would
tires.
either have to buy off Amazon one of those TPMS readers that like you hold it up to the tire where it is, and then it will give feedback.
That'd be
or
pretty cool.
yeah, you can buy those.
Okay, I was,
Yeah,
looking,
yeah,
I was looking at
actually.
Rock Auto, but
Yeah, you can buy the TPMS like it's like a cheap tool, so it won't allow you to program or anything, but it can communicate with
it'll
it.
just tell you
Read.
which one.
Yeah. So basically, if it can't communicate, then you'll know which one's dead.
That's cool because then you don't have to like really bend over that far to go to check your tire pressure and stuff.
Or it could be as annoying as the RS6. The RS6 has super sensitive tire monitor sensor warnings. So like it'll show all four, right?
Okay.
But every time you start the car, it takes, I don't know, like
you have to get rolling for it to read.
yeah. So but sometimes it'll show the previous pressures and temperatures that it read when the car turned off, and other times it'll just be dotted lines. Sometimes only 3 will read, and then the fourth one doesn't for a minute. So then the car's like. tire
one
pressure,
flat tire.
tire pressure lost left rear,
Yeah.
and then the right one because it went off for a second,
Oh, no.
and then they'll both turn back on, and then the next time I get in the car, when they're like that happens when they're like 1 or 2 psi from that warning range.
That's funny.
And since they're nitrogen filled tires, and it's been so cold, they're not. Oh, I haven't put air in them since I
Nitrogen.
got them. You know, all dealers are putting nitrogen in tires
I
now,
know.
right? Anyway,
It's just funny.
You guys go to dealers?
I only take the finest organic nitrogen.
what? You know,
Sir,
Nick,
can you fill it with free range nitrogen?
I only want organic nitrogen.
Is this nitrogen vegan?
Is this vegan friendly nitrogen?
Is this cruelty-free nitrogen?
Hey, don't joke about that. Jay actually has to get gluten-free stuff.
When
He's disabled,
when you're
man.
the first owner of a car, Nick, it comes from the dealer.
Oh, okay. Things I've yet to
That's just
discover.
coming back. Yeah, things me and Nick have never experienced buying a new car.
Oh, what do you mean from a dealer?
Yeah, what's a new car? What is this talking about? What the heck? Why would you,
You know,
do that?
it was.
You know that costs money, right?
I think.
We're just embracing our super ghetto-ness right now.
I'm
No.
not broke. I'm bougie broke.
I think it. I
I'm
think it
broke.
was the wife's old minivan. Did they have the minivan before
Broke.
the ZL1? I don't remember.
the Star Tours?
Yeah, I think I did.
I think it had Star
The
Tours.
Star Tours?
Yeah.
We called it Star Tours.
I know,
because it was a Toyota Sienna. It looked
Yeah,
like
it
a
looks
Star
exactly like the
Tours.
Star
Well, not
Tours.
not a Toyota Sienna Sport Edition.
It was SE.
Yeah.
I do believe, and that was when we beat that kid in that 86 with the full family, and my daughter was waving out the window in her car seat as we went by.
She should have had a
sounds
sign
like
that
a-
just said "Sell it."
Yeah, isn't it like a 300 horsepower V6 in there or something?
Yeah, I mean the 86 is a 200 horsepower pile of junk, but
we may have not taken. We may have or may haven't taken the ZL or the Sienna and my Z to Mexico one time.
yeah, and your
you
Z,
lose?
no, it was close enough for him to be like, oh. So
I
anyway,
had a couple of races like that with my old minivan too. Minivans,
no, I
don't
think
sleep
that
on 'em.
van was the very first like new car we ever bought. So it's like,
Oh,
Really?
from dealer. What was the pickup truck? You had a pickup truck too.
That-
Silverado.
that was very used.
Oh, okay.
It needed a new power steering rack within like the first 2 months of owning it.
That could still be a new.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. No, it had like
your Chevy needed a new diff after like 2.5 months. Remember?
no,
the
it was more than
Camaro?
2 months. It was a year.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think I had like 45,000 on that truck when I got it, which is still pretty new.
That is
Yeah,
actually
that's still pretty new.
Yeah. The Camaro has 22,000 miles on it now. It's so old.
I mean, that's old for Jay standards, considering he buys a car when the tires or whatever. Like he bought that car when the tires ran
You
out.
can buy just the tires? Wow.
That's so funny that you had a coworker actually make that.
No, that was my wife's coworker that made that joke to her.
You know, you can just buy the tires, right?
Because the joke was anytime she needed tires, she ended up with a new car. And
Yeah.
well, a new to us car.
It was like how I needed a clutch, and then I swapped the 6-cylinder in because logic.
And now how's it doing?
Now it's sitting. It still starts. It's just sitting there in a.
I
in a
gotta
storage
ask,
park.
is there a reason why you're keeping it, knowing you can't drive it?
I have to. I'm too lazy to go find like stock wheels and then sell the TEs and then pay what I owe the DMV on it and all that crap before I can actually sell it to a junkyard to scrap it.
A junkyard will take it with you without even a title.
Really?
Yeah, it's registered non-op, right?
Yeah.
That's it. It just can't be registered operational again until that's all caught up.
Oh, cool.
So a junkyard can take it, and if you have the title, that's it. That's
Yeah.
all they need.
Yeah, because that's the thing is the title's the literal ownership, right? If you hold the title, then and it's in your name. then-
I'm sure someone somewhere would buy that from you for the motor and stuff alone.
yeah.
You know? Just like you did.
Yeah. Yeah, like I bought that dude, that Passat with the straight from Compton with the bullet holes. I'm not even joking.
Yep.
That's where the motor came out of. I was driving it home and I'm just like, please survive.
Yeah, you're thinking like, don't mistake me for who was in here before me.
Dude, because there were bullet holes on the driver's side, like in like the back seats, like in the door, and I was like, so they were going for that dude for sure.
Or they were going for the driver and they just missed.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, the good finds are in Compton because that's where my buddy got his VR6 Skull from.
It's because the VR6 is so fast. That's why it's in the back seats, the bullet holes, because they were trying to shoot at the driver, but he just sped away.
No, they're just stormtroopers and don't know how to lead a target.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, how accurate?
You mean my R6 coming from Roland Heights isn't exactly the same? I'm going to Compton Audi next time.
Oh my
Heard
God.
you wouldn't.
Is there a Compton
You're gonna
Audi?
find the first R8 that actually has bullet holes.
Listen to me carefully.
Just slightly
when I worked
shot.
for the energy efficiency company and I used to go and do those
Yeah, you used to
energy
be out
audits, I walked down all the bad streets in Compton.
Yeah.
As a white dude with a polo and a clipboard. And let me tell you, the streets don't clear any faster than that.
So you basically looked like PC.
I look- Yeah.
I'm a PC, I'm a Mac.
Yes.
You just look like PC. That's
So fun. I would tell a little backstory here. So I used to work for a company where we'd go out and manage these turnkey energy efficiencies programs that the energy companies would have, with like changing out old fluorescents to like electronic T8s. You know, we would change out all the light bulbs and smart thermostats, and it was programs that were funded by the power company to bring down energy usage. And we were giving this stuff to small businesses and installing it for them. But we had a list of customers that were within a certain kilowatt usage range that were identified as like the most beneficial for it. And so you imagine it's in a lot of like less affluent areas, right? And so I have a list of addresses, and I would always kind of do a drive-through. I almost said drive-by, but drive-by in Compton is probably a whole different meaning. So I would do like
you drove by.
I would drive through the area to kind of get the layout of like, where are these businesses? Where's the best place to park? Because I would park and get out and walk. I wasn't going to go door to door. Like these little strip malls, I'm not going to park or try and drive up to each one.
Yeah, plus like half of them you have to pay to park anyway. So
Yeah.
it's in LA. So
Yeah, and it's like, imagine trying to drive business to business in downtown. You're not going to do that,
pointless.
right? You can't.
It's supposed to be feet.
So I would drive through and I would see like, it looked like Boys in the Hood, right? Just people outside drinking, smoking, hanging out, loud music playing. I'm like, hope my wife knows I love her, right? Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I would go through it. I would park and I would get out and I would start walking down the street. And I'm walking, I'm like, I got my clipboard, I got my LADWP badge on, and I've got my khakis and khakis, not car keys, khakis. And
khakis?
my polo tucked in and my little sneakers because it was walking. So I had like literally the dad uniform when I was in my 20s, right? And I'm just walking down the street and I'm like, where is everybody? Like, this is weird. Go to the first business, which was like a tattoo shop. And like, doors locked. I'm like, no, they were just here. And then I could hear like inside.
Yeah,
Like,
just like little random like.
I'm all with the looking
fussing
through the
around.
window. I'm like, whatever. And I would check that one off, like come back later, kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
Go to the next one. Ding, ding. Door's closed. That's weird. I don't know what this business is. It was kind of blacked out. Go to the next door. It's a liquor store that's suddenly closed. And I'm like, the heck is going on? So I go down one more door, and this one has a doorbell. Like a Ring doorbell kind of a thing. It's a dispensary before dispensaries were legal, by the way. So
so that's why it has a doorbell.
yeah, so it was like a metal security door. It's like, what do you want? I was like, my name's Jason. I'm here from the LEDWP. We're trying to give you like new light bulbs and stuff for free. And he's like, hold on. And then I hear,
it's like Jabba's palace, dude. Like the little robot that talks to you.
I hear, psh, then the door unlocks. I'm like, I walk in, and everyone's like just in there, like,
because they all think you're a cop, right?
No,
like,
they didn't think I was cop. They thought I was code enforcement.
Enforcement. Yeah.
Oh.
So I told him. He was like, no, what? He's like, what? You want to give me a what now? And I explained the program to him, and he was like, oh no. Right. And so he was like, oh yeah, look around, do whatever you can do. I was like, I just got to get counts. I've got to get wattages, forget, all that stuff. I was like, we'll sign up the crew. They'll come install it all for you. It's cool.
So the
I was
first one that wasn't scared of you was
and he was
finally
like,
a dispensary.
yeah. And he was like, so y'all just giving this to me? And I was like, no, we're trying to give it to the whole block, but suddenly no one's open. And he was like, oh, hold up. And he was like,
he texted the friends that story.
yeah. So by the time I was done with him, I went outside. It was a street party again. But I asked him, I was like, why? I got to ask. I was like, what happened right now? He goes, we all thought you was a building inspector. And I was like, oh, nope. But he's like, he was like, wait, do they come inspect? Well, I was like, we are going to come inspect the contractor's work, but not building inspectors. And they were just like, do whatever you want. Yeah. I got so many sales that day. Because here's the thing. Because
I
got commission. I got commission based on the energy sales, like the energy saved kind of a thing.
Oh, right. So
the more signups,
you could hit like one big business, or you could hit a bunch of small businesses.
It was the same.
Okay,
yeah. But no, it looked good to have a ton of signups.
Right.
And so it got to the point to where like, that whole neighborhood, I spent like 3 days going back to that neighborhood. I hit so many businesses up. I was like their best friend. They were giving me barbecue, and they were like, one dude offered me a 40.
You get invited to the cookout, dude?
I know.
Wow, you made it to the cookout. Yeah.
In Compton. That was Compton. So, yeah. That was a long story.
That was a pretty good story.
I just love that story because imagine you're driving through, there's all these people on the street, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Then you park, and then it's like a tumbleweeds going by.
Literally like a duel in the Western or something.
No, what really shocked me was how fast word spread.
Right. Yeah, because the community.
Lock your door.
Because in those communities, like every single neighbor is friends. Yeah. Everyone knows everyone. So it's like
they were hanging out, and oh yeah, business might happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but the funny part was that he was a dispensary before they were legal, and he let me in.
Yeah,
that was fun. That was a fun job. I got to really meet a lot of interesting people. That's also how when I accidentally came across the Office set. Yeah. He was walking down the street and like,
why does that look familiar?
Dunder Mifflin. What? I was like, oh, this is it.
Were they still filming at that time? Did they actually have the sign?
Yeah, wow. So they were clearly doing only indoor filming at that day or in the warehouse filming because all the production trucks were outside, and in the parking lot where they normally do all the parking lot scenes was all the craft services.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
interior shots.
Yeah, that was the Chandler Valley Studios is what it was called. But what I love is all the street scenes, like all those businesses and stuff, those are local businesses.
They're like the real, just in the background randomly.
What's funny is when I was auditing that area, it's called an audit, but it's energy audit, right? I'm not an IRS guy, I swear to God. Yeah. When I was doing energy audits there, a couple of the businesses still had the filming notices taped to the door because they have to go and warn everyone like, hey, we're filming on the street, et cetera, et cetera. There's certain episodes of the show, if you watch when they're like walking down the street, you can see those notices taped to the door as they're like walking by.
Oh, like in the background of the shots? Yeah. That's funny.
So.
Yeah, I think the weirdest filming notice I got when I was working in Little Tokyo was like, man will be dressed as banana sprinting down the street while being chased. And I was like, I kind of want to see this shoot now, but like they were prepping for like the whole day, so I think it might have been later on. But
I still don't know what they shoot at that soundstage right next to VF Engineering. That's a 2-stage soundstage, and I don't know what they filmed there.
It looked kind of sketch, but
no, it's a lower production kind of thing. But like I said, if The Office is filmed literally right there in the middle of a regular street, and like Sons of Anarchy was only like 4 blocks away from the Chandler Studios and they were literally filming in what was an old like automotive repair center, literally next to like body shops and stuff. They could be filming who knows what there.
True.
A fun fact for any of the super Office nerd fans like I am, if you remember when oh Oh my goodness.
Sick.
I forgot his name. Charles Minor. If you remember when the Charles Minor era, how he came from a company called Satakoy Steel. Satakoy is the street that the studio was on.
Oh,
so I think they just made it up.
reference?
Yeah, I think they just made it up. They were like, Satakoy Steel. Anyway.
You have to fill the script fast.
So what's your favorite tech?
Like I said, tire
I
pressure.
already did that. My tire pressure gauge.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
what led to your whole this.
Yeah.
this
Why
digression.
though?
Because it tells me what the tire pressure is. I don't have to like rely on
His
the
entire
car to do
life
it.
revolves around tire pressure, and it makes it easy.
It makes life easier of not having to like find a specific like code reader to figure out if that's even the thing, or to do the thing from Amazon. Like it's right there and it tells me what I need to do, you know?
I just don't have a car with TPMS, so that's the easiest fix for me. Just YOLO.
I don't know. I guess I'm just. Is it because you're like, there's no light, there's no flat?
Wait. That makes sense, yeah.
That's the thing about
You know how the light works, right?
So when it's not lit up, it's off, and then when when it's lit up, it's on.
Oh, like, okay, coming from Volkswagen ownership, where I just like learned to ignore every light on the dashboard.
Ignore the Christmas
as well-
tree
Yeah.
lights on the
Yeah.
dash.
So like I started taking the lights more seriously when I got a car that like tells me, oh, tire pressure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you listen to a car when it's not a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
When it is a Volkswagen, you just
ignore it, yeah.
It's just whatever.
Okay.
And then that's why it ejects your boost pipes because it's angry.
And your cup holder and your glove box.
Yeah, and your cup holder and the what is it? The turn signal relay.
Riding in your GTI was always an adventure.
I'm glad you enjoyed it as much as I thought I did.
It's like the whole like Forrest Gump like box of chocolates thing, right? But it's like every drive is a box of chocolates. You just don't know.
Yeah.
You really don't know the Volkswagen.
It's funny because you were just doing what most people do. Is you were being an enthusiast about the car you ended up with. It may not have been the car you chose, but it was the car you ended up with, and you're making the best of it.
Yeah. Part of me would probably still do it again.
I know you told me you were thinking about buying another GTI. I'm like,
Know you?
I'm like, are you okay?
Maybe he's in a like S&M or whatever.
I know where you can get a VR6.
Yeah, actually. Don't get Mark 3s though and 2s. Ooh, yeah, you should get Mark 2 and then buy my VR6.
Bruh.
I'll give it to you for literally like $50. I'm not even joking.
No, you should buy some really, really old pre-1975 Volkswagen something or another,
Oh,
and
like
then
a
he'll
bug.
put his VR6
A VR
in it.
bug.
Then put his VR6 in it, and you won't have to worry about smogging it.
What about a bus?
Sure.
Ooh,
A VR bus.
that would be pretty sick.
With the TEs?
And then you know what liver you have to run on it. It starts with a B, and then ends with an ang, and then bus.
I'll put it right next to the fake taxi sticker
Yeah, the
on
fake
the
taxi.
windshield.
And then you should get an actual taxi light on top.
With the Lyft and Uber sticker like followed closely next to it.
Yeah, then you're gonna get random people actually jumping in thinking it's a real taxi. and then that's gonna be awkward.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah. Oh hey.
Hey. Yeah.
So I was catching up on some. Today's Friday the 13th.
Yep.
That's like my day.
You should stream it. Maybe I don't know. Oh wait, no, you're probably doing stuff because it's Friday. I forgot.
Well, yeah.
Jay does,
After
like,
this,
Jay does like things with his life. I forgot.
well, and then all those things just change days and times, which is
Yeah.
why it's so hard for me to figure out my schedule right now. But like even after this stream, I'm going to the gym because this dad bod doesn't just happen.
Bad Dodd.
And then after that, I got to go meet up with one of Nick's friends to use his lift to adjust the exhaust on the RS6 so it'll stop rattling against the crossmember. And then
So you don't end up on just roll in.
You just rolled in.
customer states.
Customer states exhaust rattle. There's all a hole through it because of the bouncing and crap.
Jeez. Anyway, so I've been catching up on a lot of the YouTube videos and stuff that I haven't really been watching, and it was interesting to watch CES coverage from not going. So
You mean from your couch, all comfortable and stuff?
no, I didn't watch a single CES coverage at home. I only watched it here when I was bored enough. But anyway,
That's a good point. Yeah.
the only two channels I really looked at for CES was Paul's and Kyle's, right? And Kyle definitely did the vlog approach, which I personally
The thumbs up tournament was cool. That was actually pretty good.
that was paper, rock,
scissors.
rock,
Rock,
paper,
paper, scissors, sorry, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay, you win. Okay, let's see who can
Sorry, man,
thumbs up.
I've had so
Let's see who
many
can thumbs
drinks.
up faster. Nick calls it.
Draw.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
And
No.
then,
Draw.
I'm cheating though. I'm literally drinking an energy drink.
That's not fair.
Don't do this, by the way, kids.
Oh, you're doubled. Your alcohol
Well,
energy.
I wanted energy for later so I can play video games, but also I wanted to feel a buzz so that was my solution.
I haven't had a drink on this show in a long time. Anyway,
No, it's sitting right there.
oh, yesterday when I had my Insta360 cam on the, because I finally set it up, I accidentally turned it to like all the bottles of alcohol on my table, and I was like, that's not all from tonight.
Is that clip?
You're all frantically trying to like turn the thing, and it just zooms in more.
Did someone clip it?
I
sure somebody
probably not. I mean, my chat knows. In fact, after chat saw it, they were like, drink it. Anyway.
Of course they would. They just do it.
Do it.
So I was catching up on vlogs and stuff, and if you guys have watched Kyle's vlog, you saw he went skydiving while he was in Vegas. And it got me thinking, what is something extracurricular wise that you would never ever do? No, not for any amount of money, not for any amount of respect. You're just like, no, this is something I will never do ever in my life.
Skydiving.
That's definitely on my list. So here's what's on
Jay
my
and
list.
I have very similar lists because we have similar phobias, but I have something to add that you won't.
Okay, so the reason why this came up is my wife and I last year in October, we did a wedding vow renewal because we never got to have like a big wedding or anything, or even just a standard wedding, really. It was very small. When we got married in 2005, I didn't have any money. It was very, very low key.
I call it Jay's 2 wedding, 2 rehearsal. Or no, 2 wedding, 2 renewal.
Yeah. 2 wedding, 2 renewal.
Yeah.
So we did the big thing in October when we finally could after all the COVID restrictions and stuff were lifted and whatnot. And one of our friends almost got us hot air balloon ride as a gift. And my wife was like, no. Because they were like, do you think Jay would want to do a hot air balloon? No.
Everyone in the room.
No. In fact, even when we were driving down to Temecula last weekend, you could see, because on the
see the hot
weekends,
air balloons?
yeah, I see them and I'm like, look at all those idiots.
I thought you were going to be like, it does look
No, I looked at my
nice.
wife and I said, unless they're tethered, which I don't think, because that one's way effing up there.
Yeah, no, they're not.
I was like, imagine going, we're now going wherever the hell the wind decides we're going.
It really does seem like a dumb idea. Like, I always asked that as a kid. Like, how do they steer? They don't. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Like, why?
You're just like committing yourself to whatever the
At
wind
least a
takes you.
blimp
It's like,
can
Yeah.
steer, right?
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
motors.
suddenly now we're going to now a warehouse district. Where are you going to land? You know what I mean? It's like you have zero control over it.
Yeah. It just, yeah,
But that's-
and it's really high up, and you can just look straight down.
how are
But
those
that's-
allowed to fly? Like, how is that a safe
Did you
thing
know
to
they
fly?
actually have to have a license? How do you get? You're approved.
No, you probably have to know so much about the wind and like the way the weather reacts and all that crap.
Obviously, you have to be able to read wind maps and wind radar and all that sort of stuff, or whatever it's called. And then you obviously have
'Cause
to know.
that's your control.
You
That's
have to understand the physics of the balloon and be able to check it. Like any pilot, I'm sure there's like a walk around you have to do kind of a thing because they inflate it to a certain point so that it doesn't lift. It still has the ballast weight and all that. And I'm sure they do inspections. But it's like, okay, everyone on board. Here we go. Hey, hold on.
All right, so what are you guys doing this weekend?
It's a great day for flying. We're
Come
gonna
on,
have
we have
fun.
all seen the videos of the ones that are like out of control with power lines.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, I've seen enough drone fail footage just to know, like, not even having control over like normal direction.
Clell Big says hot air balloons are not easy to control. With the exception of up and down, what control do you have?
They don't. You don't control. Jesus literally holds the stick.
I kind of wondered,
The
like,
yoke.
what if they were to install like little like flaps on the side or something to, I don't know, like.
Well, yeah. At that point, you just might as well build a blimp instead, because that has fins and motors.
Yeah.
And
You can control the
go
direction
wherever you
you're
want.
in.
Yeah.
Someone said that's why it's interesting. You only have some control over when you land, not where.
Interesting is an interesting choice of words.
So do you go? Where are we?
Yeah.
And then you have to call a balloon Uber? How's this work?
A baloober.
I'm sure that
Speaking of,
I'm sure there's chase trucks and stuff that are always nearby following and all that. But I'm telling you right now, hot air ballooning is something that has been happening now since like the 15th, 16th century.
probably earlier than that. You know,
I don't care if I get demonetized or not. This shit needs to stop.
It's time to stop.
It probably started in like the triple digit years when China discovered, because they had those lanterns, right, that you would set a candle on and they'd float away.
Because part of me thinks
that's a hot air balloon.
Part of me thinks it would be fun to do it only for the reactions for the video, like to make a video.
But I don't think
No.
None of us three are gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like none of you guys are gonna film me.
Unless all, like, literally all of that video's income gets split evenly between all three of us, like, directly into the bank account.
Okay, well, basically, no matter what part is out of my question.
You didn't think about that either? You're like,
No,
wait.
what I'm saying is, like, everyone has a price, and apparently if it's a three-way split, we now know your price.
Three-way
For a
split
hot air balloon, yeah.
plus hazard pay. Like
For a skydiving.
No, here's the
skydiving,
problem.
no.
I could see that video goes live, and then my insurance agent's like, so the insurance company saw your video,
You're right.
and your rates
three
are
of us
now
get screwed
not
up.
going up. You're canceled.
Yeah.
It's like, great.
You have to call Tom Cruise and be like, can I join your insurance company? I know you're the only person on it, but still.
So what I had
Sorry.
here, things I would never do. I would never go mountain climbing, and not just because I'm fat. Okay. I would never go skydiving, and I would never go alligator wrestling.
Have you? Okay, so I'll ask you the question I asked you over there. Have you been invited to alligator wrestling?
No, I just know it's a thing.
And you just don't ever want
And
to.
I was thinking about what is something that seems like a stupid idea that people do that I would never do. I would never wrestle an alligator.
Oh, okay. In that vein, then also I would not like do the whole like running of the bulls thing.
Oh yeah,
Like it's
like
fun
that
to
one video we
watch.
watched where the bull was coming to the guy, and he was like,
he had a tablet.
He had
he was recording with the
he was
tablet.
filming with the iPad, and then like the bull like mauled him. and
like
it's
he
just, like,
forgot he was there.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this looks so great. Why is it coming so close to the camera?
That's an advertisement for Apple right there. Just like iPad camera's so good, you forget you're there. Then he kept running over by Dude. Oh man, imagine sending that iPad back into Apple Care. So what happened?
Well,
It's all beer. It's all bull speared, like with the horn still in it.
Perfect horn-sized hole through the middle.
Well, I mean, for vacation in December, we went to Disney World in Florida with the girls, and
That's where you got the alligator wrestling from.
yeah, because the thing is, like, we were driving around in either a taxi or a shuttle or whatever, a bunch, and it's just like there's another alligator on the side of the road. There's another alligator on the side of the road, and then little Jay was like, saw this little like streak in the little pond. There's a ponds everywhere, right? And saw like the little like the wake. And she's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Alligator head."
He's listening there just.
Was it cold enough to like experience the iguanas just falling out of trees?
No,
Oh.
that happened like a week after we were there. When we were there, it was high 70s, low 80s. Like a week and a half later, it was like 30s.
They fall out of the tree.
Yeah, it gets too cold, and then they like
they can't
no, they go
hold?
into like a deep sleep because it's like hibernating.
Yeah,
so they're
Because
just like
they're cold-blooded, so they don't have the energy.
Yeah,
it was
cold-blooded.
raining iguanas.
That's hilarious.
There was a guy going around collecting them and like warming them up.
Oh yeah, because they're cold-blooded, so they can't do anything.
I experienced that like last month. There was a couple lizards in our backyard.
Just like
yeah, mom thought they were dead. I'm like, no, dude, just put them in sunlight. They'll thaw out. And then
Yeah,
they'll thaw out.
Yeah.
microwave them like the hamster.
Oh no.
Do not microwave a lizard,
don't.
please.
yeah, just put them on the sun because we have like rocks like in sunlight for a pathway. And
So they just kind of just take a nap until it gets warm enough again to like have energy.
Yeah, that's all they
Makes
need.
sense.
Yeah, it was just an involuntary, like a cryo sleep.
Yeah, because that's like cold blood. Like they don't really like their energy levels determined by like what outside temperature is.
Yeah.
So they're just like, well, I guess it's too cold to do anything today, which I wish we could say.
You ever stop to
down.
think that
Sometimes.
Florida is just our small version of Australia?
Pretty much.
You got the alligators trying to kill you. You got the people trying to kill you.
That's only like a handful of things, but Australia, literally everything's trying
You got
to kill
Cletus flying B-2 bombers with like pontoons over people's heads.
Quad tune.
I want a B-2 bomber now. The thing looks so cool.
So what's a no-go for you? And don't use an answer we already did. There's got to be another one.
Backcountry snowboarding.
Why? Oh, because if you get hurt, you just are never
Yeah,
gonna get.
That
fired
works
ever.
for any. You would go mountain biking too with like the middle of
on
nowhere
a
by yourself.
designated in a designated like park. I won't go by myself.
Hoping
like,
that way
backcountry.
someone comes by if you break yourself.
Yeah.
Did you have to walk your bike back a few miles once with broken forks?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
I didn't.
Steve
tune
rode
my
the
fork.
AMD bike.
No.
That Steve rode.
I over aired my fork and forgot to
you
air it out on
blew
the
it out.
downhill section, so I blew it out and I just walked back. But it's a known trail, and there are plenty of bikers who stop to check on me. But,
That's good.
Yeah, but I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
don't 127 hours yourself.
like solo hiking, solo camping. Won't do that. Like,
Nick comes
I gotta
back
have,
with
like, a
one
group.
less ear. Like, what happened? I got stuck. What?
His ear got stuck.
Ear got stuck.
So he 127 houred his ear
Oh
off.
my god, that would suck, dude.
Classic case of Vincent Van Nope.
Vincent Van Nope. Oh man, yeah. Okay, mine would just be like everything Jay said plus like anything spiders, like any BS.
Yeah, it was funny. I
challenge.
was thinking like, yeah, like remember the Fear Factor?
Yeah.
They used to like they would have people like stick their head up to that thing, and they're like
Yeah,
tarantula like
dude.
crawling on their head and stuff, all in hopes of winning some like stupid $10,000 prize. I'm sorry, 10 grand.
I would not. Yeah.
The amount of like self-respect people had to sacrifice for the hopes of winning 10 grand. I was like, there's spiders crawling
like
on
you
your
said,
head.
like everyone has a price. My price would be like I need to be able to set my life and like my family's life and my friends' lives away and good, and then I do it.
And then the reality is, no one's that interested in your life to
Yeah,
pay that.
exactly. So it's just never gonna happen, which is cool because I don't want a spider crawling on my face. I'm fine.
Gosh, well, speaking about
And yes, I know they do it at night. Shut up. Chat.
I know what Nick's never going to do again.
what?
Take your car to Les Schwab.
or remote started.
Bruh.
Dude, you should just remote started it at Les Schwab while I was up there. 'Cause-
And then blame them for
yeah,
it.
blame them for it. Like, why'd my car crash off the rack right now?
Well, on that topic of what is your worst experience you've had with taking your car to a shop?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell everyone? Why don't you let everyone know how amazing Les Schwab isn't?
Yeah, all of us face palmed so hard when we came
All
in.
right, so I recently replaced all 4 tires on my car after breaking a wheel, and we won't go into that.
How'd you break the wheel? Jesus, break the wheel.
Debris on the freeway that was not straddled properly. We'll just go like that. So I got
Straddling's hard.
Yeah, it
I'm
is.
surprised. Nick knows all about straddling. It's weird.
It's the one time I failed.
Yeah, I guess.
And the one time I broke something. Anyways, I got new tires, and then I realized I needed to go get a alignment because something still felt off after doing the thing. So I went to get the alignment. They said we can't do it. We need inner tie rod. Replace the inner tie rod.
To be fair, you chose Les Schwab because you're like, it's right here by the studio.
Yeah, it's out of convenience. I went
is
to Les
convenient.
Les Schwab.
Yeah.
Because it's
But-
walking distance.
Which would come in handy.
Yeah.
Little did you know there would be a lot of walks.
He also did this on the same day that like Jay's car needed some stuff too. So they were both kind of like I don't remember what happened.
Yeah, but the shop I had to go to was an hour away.
Yeah, I was
or
editing
2
and
and a
they-
half coming
they
back.
Came in at they came in at like 10 or something. But anyway, they were doing car
So,
stuff.
yeah,
That's all I knew.
I dropped it off in the morning. I made it first. I made an appointment for 10 o'clock after we dropped your car off.
Anyone with automotive repair knows appointments don't mean anything other than the fact that they won't turn you away.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, now I know. Because, I mean, the last time I took my car to shop was with the Volkswagen. And most of the stuff I've done myself or have friends help me. So I'm like, okay, I could risk taking a shop. Like, it's out of convenience. They said when I called in to check on it, they said, yeah, we'll get it up on a rack. It'll be done in about 15 minutes or hour and a half. 2 hours go by. I show up. The car is still out. I'm like, did you guys even work? And he's like, no, dude, we're still working. We're still waiting on the part. I'm like, you could have told me that on the phone at least. This is the first day. They could have told me on the phone that they were still waiting on the part.
Yeah, this is a multi-day saga.
Well, here's the thing.
So I took the car back that day
But
because
you forgot some stuff. You forgot the lies.
about the part. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So you called them but around lunchtime.
Yeah.
And
when they said they were going to
Because you said it was going to be an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then you called them at lunchtime and you were like, hey, I'm just checking in on my car. And they were like, oh, yeah, we're pulling it on the rack right now.
Yeah.
Which indicated they had the part.
Yes.
So we went back to get it at the after 3 o'clock.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah. Like
Three,
after
something like that?
3 or 4.
3 or 4.
And the car's
usually.
sitting out front. We're like, oh, cool, it's done. I drop you off you go. I stopped at Arco and I got myself a drink and drove back to the studio. And then
we all think it was happy.
yeah, and then
ending.
I didn't see your text, but you texted me like, dude, they haven't even started it yet.
Yeah. So that's like it. The first hit of my patience gone.
Yeah,
But
3 p.m. like on a work day.
And they didn't
Yeah.
even have the part. And then
I mentioned I needed it by the end of day, and they said they'd have it end of day. I'm like,
apparently end of their day.
yeah, end of their day.
So
And
not only did they not work on your car yet, they also did not have the part. when
It
they
all
said
started though because the day before you brought it in for the alignment, that's like, hey, your tie rod's bent.
Yeah.
And they were like, you were like, oh, okay, well, and they were like, it's fine, I have the part on hand.
Oh yeah, they had the part. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
They said they had
Yeah,
the
it's a
part on
3-day
hand.
Yeah, so they
bruh.
lied. They lied on your initial contact, and then they lied about when they were bringing it on the rack, and then they lied about the fact that it never went on the rack, and then they didn't even have the part when they said they did.
Yeah. So day one's gone.
and 2. That was 2.
No.
Day one's the initial contact.
Yeah.
Day 2 is
Day
everything that
2,
just happened.
I show up. I asked like, "Yo, you got the part?" And it's like, "Yeah, it came in 20 minutes before we closed yesterday." I'm like, "Great, good thing I took my car back home. Otherwise, you would have had it like there."
Yeah.
So we get that. drop it off. Jay picks me up. They give me the call saying it's ready for pickup. I pick it up. Like, okay, cool. It's finally done. This whole ordeal is finally over. So glad I was patient with them. Then I drive the car up back home or to your house because I have to watch the kids. Like, okay. And then this morning I go back and I'm driving to work. I'm just realizing, dude, I'm turning left to go straight. And like, I take a picture. I'm just like, and then I text Jay. I'm like, dude, I'm going to the shop. I'm going to be late. Like, I just got to go unload on them.
Yeah.
So,
and then so Jay lets me know, and I just start laughing because I get this text and it's just like they messed up again, and I'm like, are you serious? And then like the follow up text is like he's turning left when he's going straight. I'm like,
Did you if you let go of the wheel, would it pull?
it would pull both ways. Like, the alignment was so off. Even the sheet showed it.
Yeah.
So
pulling both ways.
because
Oh my God, how do you- yeah.
it feels like you're floating when you go like above.
So like the toes out because the car wants
Yeah.
to go in a direction besides straight.
It, yeah, it
Oh my
it
God.
shimmies, it floats. But so I bring it back in this morning.
Like
Like,
one job, alignment guy.
one job, yeah. So I talked to the front of the desk or whoever's front of the desk. We're on a first name basis now. He knows me. I know him.
He's your buddy now.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, dude, whoever's going to do the alignment, make sure it wasn't the guy who did it last time. He's like, I promise you. And I'm he's apologizing about everything. He's
Yeah,
like,
that guy was cool. That guy.
Yeah.
That guy
But what I love is the fact that when they threw it on the rack and did the initial measurement and printed it out, which was from yesterday's alignment,
nothing stuck out to them that one side was -1 and the other side was -3 on camber. And like, even it was like, it had the asterisks and everything. Like, hey, dude, this is going to cause tire wear. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's not my job. I paid someone to do it.
Yeah,
So-
you're supposed to align it. Those are supposed to say 0, not.
I feel like what was the toe? Was the toe within spec?
I have the papers on desk. I don't remember, but
Oh, and the best part about those measurements is that, like I pointed out, the guy that aligned his car had made it worse than when
Yeah.
his car
Yeah.
initially came in.
With the
That's-
bent tie rod.
yeah,
That's why I told
with
Jay,
a bent
like,
tie rod. So like,
my
how
car
do
was
you? Like,
it was
how?
driving straighter when I had the broken tie rod and just like fighting the wobbles.
I have a few theories.
I told him it's like a firefighter coming to his house and then throwing a bunch of lit matches on it and gasoline. Like it's like you had one job and you literally did the opposite of the job.
He
Like,
didn't.
how?
He didn't even do the job. He just like printed it to make
So
sure he got the
yeah.
hours.
my
for
theory
it.
here is that the way it should be done, and a alignment tech can tell you,
Right.
the way it should have been done is pull the car in, put it on the rack, eyeball as best you can the alignment after you put the tie rod on. So the tie rod need to be replaced first.
Yeah.
That's a first and foremost thing that need to be done. Then get it close using the alignment tool, right? Back it off the rack,
Straighten it out.
straighten the wheel back out, or at least get it on the rack, center the wheel, then do the alignment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no doubt this dude now, here's the thing. I thought it was aligned. I thought you were saying it was aligned, like, but the wheel was just off center, right? Not that everything was out of whack still. So my initial theory was that he drove it on and the wheel was straight when he drove it on, like he straightened it, but then he aligned it, which turned the wheel.
And turned it, yeah.
That was my first thought. So he replaced it, aligned it, wheel turned. You just needed the wheel off center again, okay, which would have been easy. Now I'm thinking he brought it on, aligned it, then changed the tie rod and sent it.
Oh yeah, just like eyeballing the tie rod like length.
Yeah.
and then
Which
putting
is
it
so
back
stupid
on.
because you have to touch the broken tie rod.
I feel like he went, okay, if I do the alignment first and I take the tie rod off and then we just mark the length and put the new one on at the same
Way
length.
faster.
I can knock out this 1.5 hour flag job in
Yeah.
like half an hour and still
Yeah.
get paid for all those hours.
Yeah, that has to be the way that it went then.
He's definitely.
Everyone's yelling, "Show us the papers." Go get the papers. I want to see the alignment. I haven't
My
seen the
license
papers
plate and
myself.
stuff is on it though.
No,
just
I'll read
read
them
out the
out.
numbers,
yeah.
yeah.
We're not gonna hold it in front of the camera.
On the light, us. Nick,
Wrong button.
Turn the.
There we go.
Thanks. It sounds like a springboard from Sonic.
I heard that.
That's funny.
Okay. So which one's the one from the morning? Right here. 10:25, 11:08. Okay. So when it came in,
So this is after the first guy touched it and did the quote unquote alignment.
wow.
Right?
He's like, wow.
This is worse.
No words.
This is worse than the first page.
Oh.
How do you go in for an alignment and they unalign it more?
Wow. I was looking at it backwards. There are more red numbers on the start before the alignment today. So this is the one they sent it home with you yesterday.
Yeah, the dude made it. That's what I'm saying. The dude made it worse. It's like, oh wait, Nick paid for the misalignment service.
Oh, he's
not
doing the dad
alignment
glasses thing. Hold on.
yeah, it's so unbelievable that he had to take glasses.
You know, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 red numbers on here.
That were caused by that guy. Because there were less red numbers.
That they said was okay to deliver to the customer.
Like, I really don't understand
Jeez. You had 6 times the amount of toe on the left rear than the right. That's them, because you didn't mess up the rear.
Yeah.
Nope.
Wait, so did the guy touch your rear and then just make it worse? He touched his rear tie rod. You don't have rear tie rods because you don't steer in the rear.
Yeah. I don't have rear steering.
Jay's wagon does, but Jay's wagon works.
Oh yeah, I have rear steering.
You got the Hikes.
Got that.
Crazy.
That's why I was like laughing so hard at the desk when he showed it to me. I was like, the dude literally.
You had almost a full degree of total toe. No, I'm sorry, almost 2 degrees of total toe.
And are they opposite from each other? Too?
And that's just the rear. In the front on one, it was before was minus 3.42 degrees of toe.
I don't know how this
Like,
guy
how?
looked at that and said, "No, yeah, that's fine.
That's
it's aligned." Like the system doesn't even light the numbers up green until it's like within 0.
You went from negative 3.42 degrees of total toe in the front to 0.15.
Imagine that, if you actually use the tools given to you.
Like we've all seen alignment racks. The numbers don't turn green until it's a 0 in the front of the number.
So they were able to go from minus 1.65 degrees of toe on the front right to 0.01 positive.
To within alignment spec. Yeah.
Yeah, within spec. I mean, well, the specified range is minus 0.14 to 0.14.
Okay, so
it's a pretty wide range.
0.15 is basically in either direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's nuts.
That's a good range, but it's not 3 point something range of alignment. Like
there's only two. There's only two red numbers on your second one. Well, I guess technically the front, the camber, but you're lowered. So.
Yeah.
This is like if
that's expected for a lowered car.
But it's only 2 degrees of camber.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's like if Jay told me to install RAM and then I hammered it in backwards. And then told him, "Oh, it fits. It's booting."
That's you plugging the SATA cable upside down.
Yeah.
Your rear toe's still out a little bit, but that might be out of adjustment.
I just need to get some shims for that.
Yeah, I think you're out of adjustment there. Anyway.
Anyways,
that was
my experience for my most recent experience of going to a shop.
You paid for an alignment and got a misalignment.
Yeah, but the realignment was free after coming in very.
I'm telling you, the guy that did the alignment was like the homeless dude from Mr. Deeds. Looks at me. Ooh, peanut butter and gumballs.
Yeah, for real. Like, seriously. I don't understand how you can do a job that badly. Besides...
Neither do I.
Well, yeah, besides my friend John and his Rock Honda experience, where, he went in for an AC service, and then later the lane tried to kill him.
My bad shop experience is sort of self-induced, but I was also I was 18 years old.
Oh, so you, didn't know better or something?
No, so here's... Okay. Where I grew up was not exactly a nice part of town, okay? And I had my 1990 RS Camaro, a little 305 throttle body injected, peg leg, 15-inch Steely wheels, little just basic car. That was fun. It was my first sports car. And I wanted to get some custom wheels and stuff, but I couldn't. We didn't have the lock to get the locking lug off of the wheels.
Did you never get it from previous owner, or did they just?
This car was 17 owners.
Okay. So there's just long gone.
You gotta understand.
You have to take it to the dealer and then order it.
When I was 18, Amazon didn't exist.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna order up a wheel lock set, the key set, which I've done now, and I've got every lock known to man. So I go steal any wheel I want, I guess, apparently. But
I don't think it works like that.
And that's why I don't even run wheel locks, honestly, because anyone that's out there to steal wheels has the lock. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So I take it to this real hole in the wall, I'm telling you, janky shop, right? And it's a shop that I had been to before with my old 85 Ranger that was just a complete haggard mobile. And they had done okay work at swapping the motor. Remember when I told you I hydrolocked the motor and busted the piss right out the side because I went through a puddle? that was the same shop that did the motor swap for that.
Built Ford tough.
Well, I mean, water's stronger,
Yeah,
right?
I know. It's still like you would think it would survive a puddle.
I would hope it's survive a puddle.
Hold on. Keep talking real quick. I got to text my wife something.
Okay.
Talking stuff, filling time. So, things.
Oh, the other worst, the shop experience that first turned me off from going to shops was the Volkswagen, where I had spacers and matching lugs for those spacers, and they swapped the lugs with the spacer. So I had 10 mil lugs with my 20 mil spacers, and there's only like 3 turns worth of like lug holding the wheels on the front. I was like, bro, how do you not notice that these are all longer?
Yeah.
Like
people just don't like. I'm glad that I haven't really had a bad. Oh, I mean, besides, okay, so my experience with Rock Honda was I went in for a transmission fluid change, and then they changed the fluid, but they didn't put enough in.
So what I'm dealing with right here is the fact that we have an exterminator at our house right now because we've been hearing, like, with all the rains, like, we're pretty sure we got like a mouse or a rat in the attic. The guy's like, I don't see no droppings. I'm like, I can tell you, so you don't see my droppings and I still exist. So it's like, you should just bait it anyway, okay?
You guys might be witnessing a story for next episode live right now. Because, I don't know, this guy might be... We'll see how that experience goes.
Anyway,
yeah, they didn't fill my transmission enough. And then, so Jay's 85 Ranger, decent
no,
work,
they changed the engine and all that. Anyway, I went to the same shop. I wanted to put custom wheels on. We couldn't get the wheels off. So the guy had the bright idea of like, I'm just going to weld my socket to the lug. You should have seen what my wheel looked like after. Because here's the thing. When you're 18 and I was going to buy some hole-in-the-wall tire wheels anyway, like the ones they set out on the sidewalk, they're like, set of 4 for $100. I'm like, that's a deal for an 18-year-old, right?
Sick, yeah.
I was like, I need to sell mine for $50 to afford $100.
Yeah.
So I was going to sell the wheels. When we were watching that Just Rolled In comp earlier, remember the hub that was all burned and charred from the heat from the wheel bearing locking up? It looked like that.
Oh, geez.
But here's the thing. He kept, because the wheel lock, whatever, was probably over tightened too.
Yeah.
He welded the socket to it, but every time he would go to yank on it, it would just rip the socket right off because the socket metal's pretty weak, right? And I don't think he even like took the chrome off the socket, so he's welding to the chrome, which isn't a good bite, whatever. So then he decides he like booger welded the crap out of it, and then he put like a handle wrench on it, and he starts smacking it with a little handheld sledge, and he goes, bam, right on the spoke of my wheel because he missed.
Oh,
that wheel never came off.
Wow. So you just went to a shop to get your wheel like effed up.
That wheel never came off. And the irony is, it wasn't that long after that. My wife and I had started dating, and then she and I were on a date, and that car got rear-ended and totaled at a stoplight. With that charred wheel still on it. And when I sold it,
$100.
when I bought the car back from insurance, because I was like, I'm going to part it out and make so much money, even though I don't have anything but basic little handheld tools and no garage. I ended up selling it for like $1,000 to a guy that was just going to haggard together like the front end of the back end of a Firebird and the front end of a Camaro because they're interchangeable. I remember when he was looking at the car, he was like, "The hell's happening here?"
That's what I said to the guy, man.
That's what I said.
I told him, I said, "This is what happens when the guy tells you he can get your stuck like wheel off for $20."
Yeah.
And you know what?
It didn't.
He still asked for the $20, and I was like, "You are out of your mind."
Yeah, like you.
He was like, "I spent like 2 hours on this." I'm like,
"You also damaged my property."
Yeah.
Like, what the? Jeez.
It was, you know what though? But I cherish those keeping it real moments. I really do.
Yeah.
It's a learning experience for sure.
I do, but yeah, I do kind of miss my old tire guy in Pomona because it was like, yeah, you could just shot, but you get a set of tires for cheap, and they're good tires, they're like actual Hancocks and everything too. It's just you get it cheap. I didn't ask where they're from because I didn't care. I was just like sick of running freaking Ventuses on my Golf, which has like no horsepower.
Nope, yeah.
But gotta stay grippy. Yeah, like any of those like super ghetto hole in the wall shops, like I never had a bad experience with. It was just Rock Honda.
This
like
was
the
even
fanciest freaking Honda dealership.
This wasn't even a hole in the wall shop I went to.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's a chain.
But no, that's the problem.
Yeah.
A lot of these chains just they hire like the very inexperienced or first time techs.
So there's like more of a disconnect between like management and the people that are actually doing the work.
Like with my 67 Camaro, when I did the front suspension on that, I took my 67 to a Les Schwab to get an alignment. But when I took it to them, I said, only touch toe. Don't touch anything else. Period. Don't try and shim it. Don't do nothing because you do alignments with shims on those. I said, don't shim it. Just set toe. And then, of course, they were like, okay. And then at the end, they called me up like, this stuff's like way out of spec, blah, blah, blah. And we need to shim. I'm like, what part of only do toe do you not understand? Like, I literally had to argue with them. Just turn the freaking toe adjusters and leave it.
Isn't it ironic that you have to argue with them to do less work? But it's also because you have to argue with them so that they can get paid less. Because that's why they want to do the extra work. Cause
I know. Well, the thing is, they're kind of like a script. They have a very set procedure they have to follow.
Yeah.
And that's for insurance reasons
and also it's designed
liability.
for like the average idiot that just comes in, has no idea about anything cars, and is just like, hey, I need an alignment. Like my mechanic told me I need an alignment.
Yeah.
So of course they're going to just do everything by default.
You know what else my mechanic told me? What? You need to lose weight, and it's time for me to go to the gym. So.
Wait, me or you?
No, me. I said it's time for me to lose weight.
I mean, I know, but damn.
Jeez.
I know. We're ending a couple minutes. I know we're ending a couple minutes early, but I gotta drive all the way across town, and I gotta talk to the mouse guy. He's like, I don't see any droppings, and so it's like, okay, bro, I hate my life sometimes.
Terrorized by a mouse.
Keeping it real.
His worst shop experience is a mouse.
No,
My
daughter thought her room was haunted because she kept hearing scratches. My youngest daughter kept hearing scratching in the ceiling.
And you were like, no, it's not. And then,
yeah.
I guess it
and then
really
the other
is.
night in our room, I'm like, Dad, it's a mouse. And so I explained to her, I'm like, it's a mouse. She's like, mice are cute. I don't want him to hurt it. I'm like, do you want to hear the scratching? She's like, no. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching today's RTFM show. Remember, write us at rtfm@JayzTwoCents.com so we can get your questions in next week's show. And as always, we will see you next week, whether it's at 2 or 2:30 or 3 or something like that. Oh, yeah, we still have dad bod shirts, and I think we're out of gaming mats, and this is now like way past where the recording is supposed to stop. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Goodbye.
Later.